Hello, people. So today, hello. I hope everyone had a good weekend. I didn't stream yesterday because I had like a weird sinus thing. I had a lot of pressure in the front of my face. And it felt bad. So I didn't stream yesterday. But we're back today. We're gonna keep working on this poster that I started on. I haven't done hardly any work on it, I don't think, since we last saw each other. Let's see. Let's see, what did we do? Let's see, last time. Yeah, so I guess the big change is that we were working with, well, let's see. We were working with this photo, which was out of focus and not super great. And I talked with the director, and we got a better photo to work with. So I have been masking out this like higher res photo of this dude's face. What's up, Adam? Oh yeah, Adam, that reminds me. Yesterday we did the I did the Patreon giveaway thing. Let's see. I suppose that anyone that won something already knows, but I feel like we should probably still talk about it, right? Talked about it during this thing. Let's see. How do I navigate around? Oh, I'm not a patron to myself, and I'm not logged in, and I don't feel like logging in. But we announced the Yoshi's Island map winners yesterday. Adam, you were one of those people. I need to write everyone probably on Patreon and get addresses so I can mail stuff out. I just want to have all the addresses like in one place. Ugh. Hair. So hair is what we're going to do to mask out this hair. I put a levels layer on top of the image. And I'll show you like the color range thing that I do to, I can select green in there. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just select this area, and then what I do is making sure I have the image selected over here. With that area selected, I'll go up to I'll go up to select color range, and see I like put that layer mask over there to like crunch it up to make the colors more apparent. So then I'll select like this color range, and you can see it show up right here. Hi, Megs.
Hi.
How did your errands go?
I'm hungry.
Did you get a...
You want to see it? I'm excited.
Did you get a filing cabinet?
I got two.
Oh, two filing
I need
cabinets.
help getting them out. Meaning I need you to get them out.
Okay, I'll have to do that later since I'm streaming right now.
Yeah.
Rocco, go away! Shoot! I can't.
I know.
Oh, that's fun.
Isn't that fun?
Robots.
Robots.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A robot bedtime story.
Yeah. Hi, stream.
Wait, here, you gotta take your book.
Well, we gotta write in it.
I know, but I'm streaming right now. I can't do that right now.
Okay.
For the third time. Okay, so in the color range, I selected this white because that's what I want to select. Can I also, you can hold shift and like add colors. Yeah, but that's gonna add too many colors. So, and then you can adjust the fuzziness. I only want to select the white in there. So I'll hit OK. The fluid mask the fluid mask. I've not used that, Ryan. Let's see, and then I will take that selection, modify it, feather it, so it's not just like hard pixels. Sometimes you have to like expand it too. So let's see. Yeah, that's all right. I'll have to mess with it some more in a bit. Let's make it bright pink since there's no pink in the image, so I can just see what's masked out and what isn't. Oh, you launched your board game. Congrats, dude. I will have to take a look at this more closely later. That's awesome. I know that that is a big hurdle to get to. And now that you've had it, you are on the marathon of self-promotion. I hate masking hair. Select color range. Let's see what's new in my life recently. I started teaching again, teaching a summer class at MCAD in their post-baccalaureate program. That started on Monday. Second class is today. Students are going to have research that they've done for their first assignment. So that'll be fun. I think that's the... let's see, how did that do? You can use Command H to hide the selection marks in Photoshop, so you can actually see what you're doing. So see how like pixely that is? I don't want it to be that pixely. So that's why I go up to select, modify, and feather. And that just softens it a little bit. Then I'll deselect it and get rid of all this stuff. If we had audio on the stream, I would play your Kickstarter video and we could all appreciate it together. But I do not have audio. So I'm useless. Let's see here. What is going on with his hair right there? His hair is bananas. It's just like a valley of hair. This is a hair mountain right here. All right, well, would you like for me to hold off on, because I want to share your Kickstarter. Should I hold off until you update the video? Is that what you're telling me? Let's see here. Cut the opacity of this brush and mask things out. Is this like a rogue strand of hair that... What is this? Is a rat's nest of hair. I can't handle this hair. Let's see this. This is also going to be heavily stylized, so like you can see like what a rough job I did masking this out. Let's see. But with the gradient map over the two, it's like look at that hair masking. But with the gradient map over the two, it's not quite as apparent. Alright, we shall share. This also seems like the type of thing that Lunar Saloon would be very much into sharing. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep getting Adam masked out here. And then again, you can option click your layer mask over here to just see it in black and white, which makes it easier to see. Like if there's any little areas like over here that I missed. I don't want those little fragments in the final thing. So I'll go ahead and get rid of all these that are close. Hello, healthy eagle. I'm glad that you're a healthy eagle, as opposed to an unhealthy eagle, I guess. It's the antithesis of a healthy eagle. You were once an ill in a bad sense or a good sense. If something is ill and it's cool, then does being healthy mean that it's uncool? All right, let's mask out the rest of this. God damn it. I hate Dink so much. Alright. So we will save this. And we're just gonna get rid of all of him in this one. I'm not even gonna take the autos level on here. Oh god, the resolution is so tiny. it is mismatched. Where the hell? Can't you use like Alt Command Tab to cycle through? No. We also Command tilde. Does that cycle through open windows? Yes, that's what I wanted. Thank you. Okay, so one of the things that we talked about, all this type is still just very... We removed one name up here because they didn't have a speaking role, so it didn't feel like they should be listed on the poster. But all this type is still placeholder. I have not found a... I've not really looked for a typeface that would fit this well. I kind of wanted to take a stab at making the border. We were looking at different like regional artwork. Let's see, Nepal. So you can see a lot of the traditional artwork in Nepal is like very ornate, decorative stuff, and so we're gonna try to figure out how to incorporate that into the border. The other thing that we talked about was that the background be a different color than the foreground. So I had this gradient map over here that was out of this folder that was affecting the whole thing. But if I take it and put it in the Kathmandu folder here, that is the folder set to normal. So that gradient map now only affects what is in that folder. So then, if we have a background folder, we can put a new gradient map in it. I'll just duplicate the one that I already had. Hello, Ryan. How are you, sir? There's no like casual way that you can say hello to someone in an empty room and it not feel like you're a crazy person. Okay, so let's change. Let's see. So obviously one of the things that I definitely need to work on is getting a background image that is seamless and does not have all of this stuff. So let's go to our, I have a collection of macro shots from this. Oh, nice. That sounds like a pretty good time. Chat is awful quiet today. When chat is quiet, I'm quiet. Are you traveling just in Amsterdam, or are you just visiting Amsterdam, or are you on a European tear? They're all wobbly there. I wonder how he made these little macro shots. Oh man, that sounds like a good way to spend a break in between jobs. So I think one thing is I can use all of these different macro shots that have like different focuses and stuff to kind of create a foreground, midground, backgrounds, rather than them all being in focus and the image not having like a ton of depth. I think I could get away with it. I'll have to piece stuff together and see what we can do. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're of, Ryan. I know that, like, I'm not sure how he made them, but they are macro shots in the film of this character thinking about his like cancer metastasizing and stuff. It kind of, whenever those thoughts come into his head, it like flashes to these. Those look like, that looks like melted candy to me. Those like juju things, but I don't know how he made them. I'll have to ask. But they're just like really quick cuts in the movie. Yeah, the whole movie is about him going to Kathmandu to kind of escape his diagnosis. Short film. The whole short film is about that. Yeah, I think he is in the process of, I know I get they want the poster, making the poster and then a horizontal version for like Vimeo and stuff, but they're in the process of entering it into festivals and stuff, so that's why they need this art. And I think usually the process is they enter it into festivals, and then once that whole circuit is done, they start, they will put it online. Let's see if we can take these things. Can we just put these two together? Sorry, you can't see my whole screen. I'm using, that's the one thing about having all of that Twitch stuff on the left, is that I lose some real estate. Whoa, that's weird. I do remember lava lamps. I had a lava lamp in my room when I was a kid. I burned the hell out of myself on it more than once, I think. Let's mask out some of these. Let's see. So the other thing that you can, the other way that I mask stuff out is by making paths. So especially since I'm so comfortable with Illustrator now, so I'll just make a path, especially for stuff that has like really smooth surfaces like this. So then once you got it, you can go over to paths and you'll see this like work path here. Then you can hold command and click it and it will make a mask. And then I'm gonna edit that mask to give it a softer edge. So I'm gonna go to select, modify. I'm actually, you can see I like missed the edge of it up here. So I'm actually gonna contract the mask a little bit. So select, modify, contract. Let's see. I wish it showed like previews. So we'll do it by 2 pixels. That looks like it incorporates everything. And so then I will go to feather it, and we'll feather it by 1 pixel and apply mask. And then we get a floaty blobby thing. So, and with that, we can like take that thing and you know, the whole thing here is that some of this stuff will be floating in front of and past him. You know, so we'll have little blobbies going in front of him, so they're passing behind and in front. I wonder how that's gonna, let's see. Well, we can take this gradient map because obviously it's not being affected by the same gradient map that the background is, but we want it to be since it's part of the same thing. So I will I will pull this gradient mask up here, hold Option, click between here, and you can see it applies that same gradient map to that. But it looks super flat. Let's try using a levels move here, just on that one thing. See if we can make it a little less flat looking. Might just be a bad one to like mask. Yeah, I don't think there's any other than just like artificially, let's see, we can just put a layer in there and use a brush. you know, we can just like fake it. You can also make vector masks if you want to keep your points editable. See, I have not worked in movie poster stuff since that was an option in Photoshop. So I might be doing some like illustrative stuff like this on these things just to make it more clear what they are. We'll see. Why Photoshop over Illustrator for this project? You always use Photoshop for image-based things. Illustrator just doesn't have many image editing tools in it. And you're going to do a lot of image manipulation. And so because of that, you're going to use Photoshop. And resolution, I'm building this at full size, 27 by 40, which is usual movie poster dimension. And then I'm doing it at 150 pixels per inch. I think most of the posters that we worked on when I was in LA, they would finalize at 300 DPI, but for a project like this, like we just don't have the like high res assets to build stuff that big. So I'm keeping the resolution at 150. Yeah, no problem. I'm always happy to answer anything I can. It's funny, it doesn't look as flat like in the photo as it does in the poster. Like that, like there's like clearly, is there like a levels move or something affecting it? Move it to the top and find out. No, it's just different context, looks different. Let's see. I'm trying to think, like down here, it's like this is pretty out of focus and this is in focus. How do I go about masking this out? Let's just do, we'll do a half and half kind of thing. Hey, Leah. But I'm going to just assume SC2 stands for StarCraft 2. To your question about movie poster resolution, a lot of the times the way we worked on these things was we would build comps at 10.5 by 15.5 inches, and at 150 DPI. And that's just because when you're working in comps, you're making a lot of different posters pretty quickly. You're like iterating very quickly, and you can't work on full-size posters quickly. So that's why you work at that scale. And then once a poster is chosen by the studio, you would then send that poster off to a finisher, and the finisher rebuilds it at the correct resolution, looking out for all the like little mistakes you might have made while building it and stuff like that. Let's see, select, modify, feather. Okay, but these need to be blurrier since they're in the foreground. A dark art, you know, they are a dark art. See if we can kind of like mimic a focus shift here. So movie posters are a dark art for many reasons. Off topic, how did you manage to get your foot in the door and get a job at Google? That's tough because I didn't apply to Google or anything. I made a 2011 time travel calendar, and a blog wrote about the calendar, and someone on Google's what's that team? Google Doodle team saw it and put my name in the running for a job there. So it's a useless story. Make a time travel calendar and hope a blog writes about it, and then hope that someone at Google sees it. This is the stupid set of circumstances that landed me that job. Okay, so I want to affect this like front sphere thing without affecting this edge. So I'm just going to do a little lasso thing and do this so that I'm only affecting pixels in this area. Yeah, you can, but you're still, I mean, it's different in every agency. My boss still expected stuff to be very technically polished, I guess. And that our comps looked very clean and not really like rough comps. And so because we always send it off to someone else to finish, we had to be very meticulous about keeping track of what photographs from the unit photography we used and stuff, so that then the finisher could ultimately use that same photography to finish it on their end. Yep. You got it, Sahib. Yep, luck, timing, other people sharing, making cool stuff. Maybe making cool stuff is kind of the least important part of it when you consider how many bad things you see getting shared. So I don't even think making good stuff is a requirement most of the time. Yeah, Mortal Kombat image. That's I think of a lot. It's like in movies and like mob movies and stuff. They have like cleaners who will like come and like clean up a body and stuff. And I think of a finisher and a similar, like call in the specialist. They'll take care of this. Okay, so we'll do background cells and foreground cells. And I'll make the foreground cell folder normal so that any gradient maps and stuff that I put in here do not affect anything else. Yes, the finisher is a Harvey Keitel character. Exactly. That's what I imagine. Oh, making some pixel art. That's fun. I like the variety you have in your background bricks. All right, so you can see like one weird thing already is that the background image there's more contrast range back there, so you're getting the greens and the blues. The greens. I got a bad case of the greens. But in these foreground elements, there is not as much of a range, so they are like kind of just one color. Let's see. So I can mess with like adjusting the midtones and the darks and stuff to give them a little more depth. So you can see there's some range now, whereas before that's with the levels layer and that's without. I would say one thing, if you wanted that castle, well, it's already pretty light. You might take some of these clouds and put it in front of the castle just to push it back even more. I mean, your contrast is pretty good in the sense that your darks are all in the foreground and it loses contrast the further away it gets, that atmospheric perspective. Yeah, some clouds in front of it might help push it back. We can use these cells to cover up the worst parts of hair masking. How about that? I always get self-conscious when I'm drinking water. Can you all hear me swish water around in my mouth? I hope you can't, because it's terrible. Yeah, bald people are the best. We had the guy who body doubled for us for Dr. Manhattan when we worked on Watchmen. That guy, what's the thing? It's like alopecia, I think, where you don't have any body hair. The easiest human ever made to mask. It was like he was born to be masked. It was wonderful. Just a man with no body hair. I wonder. Huh, that's interesting. If it's these cell things going up and there's like some kind of solid color in the background. Not that solid color, but a solid color. Let's see, right now we have this like dark, I think it might actually be like a purple. Yeah, it's like dark purple that should be replacing all the blacks back here, but there are no really dark black areas. So let's mess with our levels and see if we can pump up the darks. No, not really. We have to change it a lot. And it's always important after you put like levels and curve, like levels layers and curves layers and stuff like that, that you toggle them on and off, because you can like kind of get sucked into or in Photoshop where you add like a whole bunch of different adjustment layers and then realize that like 3 of them are redundant, so on and so forth. So always good to just keep an eye out. Where bald athlete go? Oh man. I like the lumpy idea. Let's see. So actually... Whoa. Whatever color I choose for the background, if I want the background and the foreground elements to be connected, then I have to make sure that the pink sits well on top of the background and vice versa. Let's go ahead and mess with some of this masking in his hair. Oh God. I did not get Street Fighter for the Switch. I'm terrible at Street Fighter. I'm bad at fighting games just in general. So I probably will never get it for the Switch. Yeah, I might get ARMS. Some of the reviews for ARMS said that it is to fighting games what Mario Kart is to racing games, which is interesting to me. I would be curious to play what Nintendo's take on fighting games is. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there is Super Smash Brothers, but I'm talking about like a good take on fighting games. Yeah, sometimes with hair, you have to like get a paintbrush and like paint in hair, which is always like a nerve-wracking thing because you're like, does it look painted in? It looks painted in to me, but you've like looked at it so long that you like can't objectively tell anymore. You have to rely on other people and their judgment to tell you whether something is painted in or not. See, I've never been a big Smash fan. I've never played many of them much. Which is Melee? Isn't the N64 one the one that everyone likes? Because that's the one that I played and was like, I don't think this is for me. Okay, Melee is the GameCube one. Yeah, I don't think I've ever even played Melee. See, so then we start putting some interplay with the border too. I think that will be nice. I don't know what brush looks like a Venn diagram. So say we could probably need to start working on the border too, but I think that right now, we have so much to work on that I can pretty much take a stab at anything. Let's flip this thing horizontal. I'm going to see how long this semester I can go without my students finding out that I stream on Twitch. I feel like them watching my Twitch stream would be the easiest way to undermine my authority, my own authority in that class. Let's see. We have some really blurry ones. You know what? I'm just gonna... Ryan, you were saying something from your Amsterdam hostel about using vector paths so that you can edit them later. How do you do that in Photoshop? Because I do not know how to do that. Or anyone else that might know how to make vector paths in Illustrator and then select them. All right, everyone gather around Ryan. He's about to bestow some knowledge upon us. Learn me. All right, so you make a new path and then add a mask to your layer. Wait, background copy layer mask? Wait. Oh, I see. Okay. So make the path. We'll just make a path here. Then add the mask to the layer. Crap. All right, add a mask. The mask will be pure white, but if you open the properties panel, where is my properties? All right. With the mask selected, there is an option to do a vector mask. Let's see, I have mask options. What are my mask options? Oh, that's the color. Refine, invert. No. Of all the times for your video to stall. It's in the little box with the plus sign. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now this is a vector mask, right? Which you're saying that I can edit later? Oh. Oh. Look at that. Okay, so but then I can turn that mask off. So I can like select it, turn it off, inverse this mask, inverse my layer mask, and do that, and still have the editable mask over here. Oh, I can, well, or I can keep the layer, or I can keep the vector mask over there, so if later I decide that this is not good, then I can go back and edit this, and then apply it to the actual, to what I consider my actual mask. That's what my brain considers the actual mask. I like this, Ryan. Thank you for teaching me this. All right, now let's do it for real. All right. I can keep my mask there. I'm not messing with that mask now. So a lot of my students indicated that they feel somewhat amateurish with Illustrator and Photoshop and the like. Is there anything, since some of you have been watching me for a while now, watching me work, is there anything I do, because this is, to preface this is not me fishing for compliments. This is because when I'm doing this stuff day in and day out, I don't know what I do differently than anyone else, or what is relatively difficult to do, or what's easy to do, or what's like something that I do a lot that I'm not even paying attention to that's helped you somehow. But I'm trying to figure out where to start in teaching someone basics in Illustrator. And I'm not really sure where that starting point is. So, if any of you have any insight as to where you think an Illustrator beginner should start, or stuff that I've done that I should pass on to an Illustrator person at the beginning of their learning, let me know. I'm talking too much and doing a terrible job of masking this up. Also, Ryan, when you're in Europe, are you lying to people and telling them that you're from Canada? I did that when I visited Italy and George Bush was the president. But George Bush looks like a genius compared to what we have now. All right, the hardest thing to grasp is the pen tool. Okay. Yeah, so one of the things that my teacher did for me in college was gave us a lot of like different shapes to like trace with the pen tool, and so we got like used to you know, how to work with it. I think the way to keep things easy with the pen tool is to make as few points as possible. And the more points you add, the hairier things get generally. No, I didn't draw it. No, I'm working with photographs here. Let's see. Where's my pen so I can write down what your all's thoughts are on teaching someone Illustrator. All right. Pen tool. Let's see, learning Bezier curves. Let's see, you find understanding the Pathfinder options and difficult. All right. Pathfinder and the pen tool are kind of like the bread and butter of Illustrator, I think. All right, build things out of shapes. You had to do a project to recreate a real object only with shapes and solid fills. That's a good exercise. Shapes and solid fills. Trace logos from JPEGs, that's good. Just give everyone the Nike logo. Be like, good luck. You trace letters. All right, see you turn right. Never teach the blend tool. Never. Yeah, the mesh tool might be too advanced. I don't know. Shading and textures in Illustrator. That's good. Yeah, if you're texting, it's yeah, that's that's hard to hide. When I went, people probably knew because I had a Kentucky accent more than well, maybe, I don't know. I think my Kentucky accent has dwindled some, but word Kentucky idioms and stuff, I feel like I use more of them now than I used to, which is weird. I'm doing a terrible job masking this thing out. BT dubs. All those Italians were just too nice. They were like, oh, Canada, okay. Sure. Whatever you say. I think that probably, let's see, I think a lot of Kentucky idioms are probably just southern idioms. Is Megs in chat? Megs would know. Megs is more aware of the dumb shit that I say than I am. I mean, I say things like reckon and I think I still like remnants of my Kentucky accent or dropping the G's off of things. So I say like gonna, fixin'. Yeah, I say good ol'. God, what is the shape? Alright, let's... I just want to select this shape. Hi, Fatty Lumps. I am still streaming. Why did you think that I wouldn't be streaming? When were you here? Did you... What? Or did you just see that I started streaming a while ago and you're like, oh, he's probably done by now? Alright, so following Ryan's instructions here. We have our mask. So I'm going to select this in my properties. I'm going to add a vector mask. Voila. But then I'm going to disable that vector mask. You can disable a mask by holding shift and clicking on it, and you'll see a big red X on it. And so now that I have a selection, we're going to go up to select, modify, feather. We're going to feather it. I'm going to inverse this. Whoa. Inverse the selection by holding Shift Command I, and then hold Shift F5, fill it with black, and then we have our little clump of things. Oh, you saw the notification a while ago and you were like, nah. And then you got desperate and you're like, I guess I'll see what they're doing. All right, see you, Adam. Congrats on launching Blue Shift's Kickstarter. Where is that, by the way? Alright, so we'll take this. Yeah, I don't know what they are. I mean, they're not literally red blood cells. They recreated something that looks like red blood cells, but I don't know how. Ooh, look at that. It has some wrinklies on it. Bath beads from the O's, from the zeros. What an interest. What an entrance. I am Jester. This one has a hair on it. I also decided that I will name our soon to be live Discord group design.net. It'll be design.net because design.net is a cheesy ass name that fits well with this cheesy ass retro aesthetic that we have going on right here. Dance. Is Behance's rival? Let's see. Yeah, mid 2000s Microsoft. That is also acceptable. I'm okay with that. Why doesn't it let me confirm this? Crap. Yeah, or like BattleNet. BattleNet is what I used to pitch this to Megs. I was like, it's like BattleNet, Battle.net. Jester, we don't know what we're looking at. We don't know how they're stills from a film in which it shows like these, like it has these macro shots, but we don't know how they made the macro shots, I guess. So I don't know what we're looking at. See, instead of doing the levels, I used to use curves a lot. Let's try using a curves layer. See if I can remember how to use a curves layer. I don't know if I'll turn his head again or not, or if I'll just leave it on straight. Well, we can always try it and see what happens. That's weird. The curves layer just like took out a lot of detail. Yeah, curves, even when it was explained to me when I was at Intralink doing this for a living, I don't think I ever really understood how to use curves. I would just wiggle things around and to see what would happen. Yes, we can make lighthearted channels and / boring channels like dogs. Wait, dogs aren't boring. I like dogs. Gardening is boring. I stained my deck yesterday. Does that count as gardening stuff? Let's see, if we soften this mask, we can kind of make it look out of focus so that this outer edge matches, like you can see the edge when it goes in here. We kind of need those two things to match, otherwise it looks weird on closer inspection. Oh no! Max! Alright, let's look at this dog. You were stuck on Dixie, Megs. What'd you say? You haven't sent me Dixie before?
Maybe another Dixie, but not this one. She just came on today.
The second and third pictures are very much in contrast with the first and last one. She looks very serious. Very concerned.
Maybe tell her a joke.
What?
Maybe they're like telling her a joke.
Maybe they're telling her a joke. Oh, Megs. This one, the last one, looks like all of my photos in high school where they're like, sit up straight, turn your head, tilt your head, look back, smile. House trained, 90% there. That's not 100%, is it? Part boxer. I love boxers. No, Megs. No. She looks like what? A Pokemon puppy? A pokey little puppy? No. Oh boy. Kefler, that's a good. I don't know Pokey Little Puppy. It's a bad link, Megs. I'm gonna ban you from chat. You start sending bad links. Let's see, instead, let's take this one and I usually just feather them 1 pixel, but we'll feather this one 2 pixels. Shall we be so bold? Let's see. Let's see what we get from that. Yeah. 2 pixels. 2. Whoops. I should probably save these as I work on them. Oh, I recognize that pokey little puppy thing. Pokey doesn't have an E in it? This is like the Berenstein Bears thing. Has Pokey never had an E in it? What am I doing? What am I doing? Select, modify, feather 2 pixels, and whiskey versus whiskey. That makes sense. All right, Dixie. I have the problem right now where I've only had 1 class with my students, so they email me and I'm like, which one is that? Okay, I know which one that is. I hope they all sit at the same, I hope they all sit at the same spot so I can keep their names straight. No, I didn't really. It's not really a back to school haircut. It's a. I got it before I went on vacation, but it also helps that I guess it doubled as a back to school haircut. I also actually just do my hair when I teach versus wearing a hat all the time. Which, in a perfect world, I'd be wearing a hat all the time, and I'd never have to do my hair. I'd have a nice haircut hidden beneath a hat. We've been doing the hockey pocky. Is that how you would say that, Megs? The hockey pocky. Hello, McMichael Bay. What is? What a name. All right, things are starting to come together on this. Let's try rotating his head to see what it looks like when it's straight up, shall we? I have not had a mohawk in. When was the last time I had a mohawk, Mags? Like 6 years ago? 7? No. Because remember, I cut one when we moved to Minneapolis the first time. And I was like, I don't like it. No. It was here. Yeah. Yeah, so 8 years ago was the last time I had a mohawk. Let's see, do I want to edit the photo? I'll edit the photo directly in this file. All right, do I want to do that? Because I've edited the hair some in this file, which I haven't done in the other one. And I don't really want to do it again, but also I prefer to make these like big edits to an image in the file, in its native file, and then copy it into the bigger thing here. You know, I copied it. Let's apply this mask. And we will just cut his head out. Hashtag cat dad, sure. So if his head is level, see his neck's all scrunched up when he's like this. So if his head were level, his neck would be a little longer. Which means I have to like make a neck for him. Oh, it's like Tom Hanks all over again. I don't know. Do you really gain much from all that work? I don't really think you do. Like, it's not like perfectly symmetrical, but it's a more natural pose. I think we're going to stick with the more natural pose rather than create a Tom Hanks situation. Megs, do you want help getting those file cabinets out? It won't take that long, will it? Okay. I'll help you. Let me put a very good and professional be right back message up. I haven't made a BRB screen with the new aesthetic. It's terrifying. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. I plugged into... What did I do with my tablet pin? I logged into... Oh, there it is. Filing cabinets. I muted the mic so you wouldn't hear all that stuff. It's not to say that stuff didn't happen, but you didn't hear it. Okay, background cells. Yes, there was definitely a lot of crunking that was happening. Alright, that's pretty good. The big... See if I can bring up the original sketch for this direction. It's like all this stuff floating in front of him. And this is a pretty good start to that. There's obviously still more stuff that needs to be placed, and I wonder if, you know, if we can't take like bits like this. I do not know that phone number. And like really blow them up. And let's see. And blur them to create even more depth. Filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Actually, let's make this into a smart object. I'm gonna get rid of this. Don't show it again. Just do it. I told you to do it. Let's see. So the reason that we're going to make this a smart object is so that when we apply the blur, we can edit it later if we want it to be more or less or whatever, because it applies it as a smart filter. So why won't it let me adjust the blur? No. Why is the blur dialog box not coming up? Photoshop. Why have you forsaken me? So if it's not a blur, so if it's not a smart object, it has no problem doing it there. Well, what the F? And then it, okay, it worked that time. Yeah, I was clicking it and then blur, it wasn't doing anything. Now it does, but it was messed up before. The cells are prominent element in design, but you don't know their context. Yeah. I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, well, that's a lot of movie posters before you see the movies. You okay in there, Megs? All right. Thanks for stopping in, dude. We'll see you next time, which I guess is Friday. Oh, yeah, actually, I do need it to ask that again. I guess I can just right click on it and hit apply. So I actually don't need it to ask me again. Okay. Wait, what tool? What tool is that, Ryan? Sure, I think too the argument is like you look at a lot of the like posters that like Mondo puts out. And like those posters, most of those posters wouldn't mean anything if you hadn't already seen the film. So they kind of have a different set of responsibilities from posters that are meant to sell people the movies. Right, yeah. I think the mistake that a lot of people make is trying to compare Mondo posters with theatrical posters and saying, you know, why don't posters look as good as Mondo posters? And it's like, well, because they're trying to accomplish two different things. I'm trying to figure out if like these things should be like tapering off into the upper right. You know, if they should fill the whole background. Oh, they're prominent to the movie. I can show, I think I showed a clip when we first started, but it might be helpful to show another one here. Let's see. So in the movie, he gets flashes of these things. Let's see, you can see here. There's like, the movie's like interspersed with these like macro shots. I can't make it any bigger. If I made it bigger, if I made it full screen, half of it would be cut off because of the way I have my screen cropped. But yes, you can see they're meant to kind of show his inner thoughts as he's thinking about his cancer growing in him. All right. Woo. All right. I'm gonna have to do some serious work to, if I want this to be like a solid background here, I'm gonna have to do a lot of work to like mask these out well so that they merge into that background and don't look too bad. What what were you hoping Uptime to show you? I have been streaming for a good 2 hours now. I might call it for the day. That looks really bad. Yeah, no, it's we settled on this direct. I presented a few different directions to the director, and this is the one that we kind of settled on. Man, maybe all the stuff behind him should be this. That's what I'm leaning towards the more I mess with this. It's pretty easy to merge these like abstract things into each other. I think one of the things that's going on is there's a much more contrast in him than there is in any of the background stuff. But it's going to be hard to do that without just... It's going to be hard putting a lot of contrast into the background without just muddying it up. Just because the shots have a lot less contrast than the one we're using of him. Yeah. Maybe this is too saturated. Oh god, that poster. Oh, it's terrible. Oh man. All right, well, I think this is as good a stopping point as any today. Still a lot of work to do, but I think it's getting somewhere interesting now with the elements in front of him and overlapping the border and stuff like that. It's getting somewhere, which is always good. So, yeah. Thanks for everyone for hanging out today. And let's see. I should be on Friday. There's a slight chance that I won't be. If I'm not on Friday, I will let you all know in the like updates thing that's beneath this stream. But yeah, we'll figure that out. I'll let you know. So thanks everyone for hanging out today. And I will maybe see you Friday. Have a good one. Bye.